After a very shaky start, McFarlane's Super Powers relaunch hung on for the long haul. And now that the final figures are here, how did it all shake out? A few years back, I dipped my toe in the water with McFarlane Super Powers, really hoping for a good result. And in the video that I did, I was very underwhelmed by the sculpting, the scaling issues, and the cheapness of the soft goods capes. I bailed. The only thing I bought between then and now was the Wonder Woman Invisible Jet, and even that showed up right out of the box with a bent tail fin. So McFarlane Toys and I, when it comes to superpowers, have not had a great relationship. In the interim, I was told McFarlane attempted to correct the scaling issues with the Superpowers figures and bring them back to a more Kenner scale, although I've been told that that bulky buck, as I like to call it, kept making its way into the line in various places over the years. The final wave of McFarlane's Superpowers, not including the ones based on the new Superman movie, but the DC Comics iterations of the characters, were all McFarlane Toys online exclusives. And that's annoying. Because instead of providing Kenner Superpowers with much needed redemption in one specific area, they decided to repeat history and add insult to injury. The final wave of McFarlane's Superpowers includes Nightwing, Deadman, Plastic Man,
I like to call them by the wrong name to let them know I don't really care about them,
and Cyborg. So I'm just going to get this out of the way now. Cyborg and the way that they rolled him out is deplorable. They should not have done what Kenner did back in the 1980s, where Cyborg was held off and held off and held off until the very end of the line, and then nobody was able to get him, and now he's a gargantuan dollar figure. Because Cyborg is one of the main characters under the Superpowers marquee. There is no excuse for this being done again. When it comes to this Superpowers relaunch, McFarlane should have put Cyborg out in the first 4 waves easily. Preferably in the first wave, but definitely the first 4. And he did not do that. They saved him till all the way at the end and put him behind an online exclusivity paywall. He sold out in minutes, of course, and now he's going for stupid prices online, just like the original vintage Kenner version. And that makes the fact that he doesn't come with any accessories and is not vac metallized a moot complaint at this point, given how they made him available. That being said, if you can get your hands on this figure, while he's not as nice as the Kenner original, which is kind of the story with most of these McFarlane figures, he is a really nice and essential addition to a Superpowers collection writ large. And that's what makes this so frustrating. Out of the other 3 figures in this line, Nightwing looks pretty good. He's in his 80s attire, and they actually scaled him to be slightly taller than the Superpowers Robin, which really gives the nice impression that he's grown up and he's no longer the boy wonder. So they did a great job here. His detailing, his sculpting, his paint, they all look great. That same body that was used for Nightwing, that was used with a lot of the McFarlane Superpowers figures, which is fine because there was a lot of reuse in the Kenner Superpowers line, was also applied to Deadman. Deadman also looks really good. He looks exactly what I think a Kenner Superpowers version of this figure would have looked like. And when you see how well McFarlane did with Deadman and with Nightwing, you wonder why they botched so many other figure releases in this series. And speaking of botched figure releases, let's talk about Animal Man. He looks great at a glance, and his card art is awesome, but when you look at the two and you pay attention, you'll notice that the card art and the figure are not wearing the same costume. I don't even have words for that mistake. How do you do that? That has to be a deliberate oof. Animal Man uses that larger body, which makes sense because of his stature and the way they designed the character. He also has one of those McFarlane Superpowers not quite great soft goods items, a jacket. It's not terrible. However, the real problem is the figure overtly doesn't match his own card art, and that makes no sense. Make up your mind, McFarlane. But even taking into account the baffling decision with Cyborg's distribution and the weird inconsistency between the card back and the figure of Animal Man, McFarlane Superpowers has clearly rallied from that dodgy start to its concluding wave. And it's got 76 figures now and 13 vehicles and playsets, approximately. And that means it's earned a post-mortem on RetroBlasting. So it looks like I'm doing this.